a public hearing for the City of Norfolk Planning Commission. At this time, we do ask that you turn off all pagers, cell phones, or other electronic signaling devices. The agenda for today's hearing is located in the council chamber lobby. Staff reports and maps for the City Planning Commission hearings will be available online approximately 1 week prior to the public hearing. To access this information, log on to norfolk.gov/planning. If you wish to speak on an item on today's agenda, you must fill out a request form with a staff member located in the council chamber lobby. We normally hear the items in the order in which they are listed on the agenda. The Planning Department staff will introduce each item by stating the type and purpose of the application and the location of the property. A staff member will deliver a presentation on each item, followed by a recommendation on each application to be considered at this hearing. Following the staff presentation, the commission will hear from the proponents and then from the opponents, if there are any. Anyone who has signed up to speak will be called by the chair, and he or she should approach the podium, state their name and mailing address. The speaker should speak directly to the commission and not to the audience. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each. However, the applicant's time will not be limited. After all proponents and opponents have been heard, the commission will allow rebuttal first from proponents, then from opponents. The total time for rebuttals are limited to 5 minutes each. At the conclusion of the hearing on each item and after considering all information presented, the commission will take action on the matter. Action on each matter by the commission will be to recommend approval or denial by a majority vote. The statement of the motion in the affirmative by a member of staff is a matter of voting procedure and in no way indicates the recommendation of the staff or the consensus of the commission. Following the action by the commission on the matter, a written recommendation will be made to City Council except for those applications where the decision of the Planning Commission is final. Anyone who attends the commission public hearing for a specific item will be notified by the City Clerk's office of the date on which the City Council will consider the application. I think we're ready for the roll.
Pendleton?
Here.
Ms. Van? Here. Mr. Wells?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Dr. Whibley? Here. Mr. Bateman?
Here.
And Ms. Sutter.
I'm here.
Okay, so just before taking up the items on today's agenda, we do have one item that is being withdrawn. It is regular agenda item number 1, City Planning Commission for amendment to the zoning ordinance to modify home occupation regulations. With that being said, we will move on to the Architectural Review Board items, and we have 2 of them. The first being CSRM Phase 1A, construction of a flood wall.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So before you is a design review item for the first part of Phase 1 for the CSRM project. This is the construction of the flood wall system between approximately the Berkeley Bridge and over to the Campostella interchange. So Phase 1A consists of a series of flood walls, a levee, living shoreline, and a series of vehicular floodgates. So shown on the screen here are a few different sections of different parts of Phase 1A, the flood wall, which will be primarily made of concrete. The Architectural Review Board met twice on this matter in June, first on June 9th and then again on June 23rd. They are recommending to you approval of this item with a few conditions, one of which being that the floodgates be this color here, Nauticus blue. This is the same color as the flood wall or the floodgate down here at Nauticus Museum. That is primarily for signaling purposes for all of those gates to be the same color. Additionally, the Architectural Review Board had recommended at its June 9th meeting that the applicant, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, study a different type of pattern for the wall to help break down its overall size. The board did hear those variations you just saw on the screen and are recommending to you pattern D, which will provide sufficient break along the length of the wall to reduce its massing. So the board does recommend approval to you with a vote of 8-1 to approve this with the conditions that the final wall texture be returned to the Architectural Review Board, which occurred on June 23rd. The final design of the pump stations that are to be installed near Ferry Landing, and then again, just to the east of the railroad bridge, returned to the ARB prior to its construction. The floodgates to be Nauticus blue, and that the board recommends a maximum lighting temperature of 2,700 Kelvin for lighting along the Elizabeth River Trail with the Phase 1A. I can answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? No, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
The motion is to recommend approval as presented. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van? Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter.
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you.
The next ARB item is 359 Kempsville Road, pump station number 65, rehabilitation.
Yes, so as Ms. Pollock just said, this is at 359 Kempsville Road. It's at the intersection of Kempsville Road and Center Drive. What is existing is a small building pump station that is insufficient to meet current demands. What is being proposed is a full site rehabilitation that will take those existing facilities and turn it into an above ground and below ground facility that will include an electrical hood and some above ground pumps. What is being proposed, you can see on the left, that is what the site will then look like with an expanded driveway, and it will be screened with the fence that you see on the right. This is currently used by Public Works and a few other locations throughout the city. So at its meeting on June 9th, the Architectural Review Board voted with a vote of 9-0 to recommend approval to you all of the design materials and renovation for pump station number 65.
Any questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you. Susan?
The motion is to recommend approval as presented. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van? Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter.
Aye, we'll make that recommendation. Thank you.
So we've got our consent agenda items next. We've got two items. We've got number one, Southern Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Norfolk for conditional use permits for automobile sales and automobile repair and maintenance, and Taking Care of Me for a conditional use permit to operate short-term rental at 2032 East Ocean View Avenue. We'll vote on these as a group, and so the recommendation is to recommend approval subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter.
Aye.
Okay, on to our regular agenda, and we're gonna, number one was withdrawn, so we'll skip to number two. Number two is City Planning Commission for an amendment to the zoning ordinance to modify the performance standards for automobile sales, automobile repair and maintenance minor, and automobile repair and maintenance major to reduce the minimum lot area and width for the repair and sale of motorcycle and similar vehicles.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, as mentioned, this item is a text amendment to the auto repair and auto sales uses in the zoning ordinance. So we received a request to initiate an amendment a few months back to specifically allow for an opportunity for those who are selling or repairing motorcycles or similar small vehicles to be able to apply for a conditional use permit on a lot smaller than the minimum lot size allowed for auto repair and auto sales uses. So the current standards that we do have in the ordinance, they date to 2014. Actually, prior to the current zoning ordinance, they were in the last one added in 2014 and carried over in 2018 to this ordinance. And specifically, they speak to a minimum lot size for any auto repair or auto sales use of 20,000 square feet and with a minimum lot width of 100 feet. And so that largely matches information on what staff at the time judged to be the right sizes for those types of businesses to operate, that they can meet all of the parking requirements, the open space, landscaping, stormwater requirements, that those were the things that were needed to sell or repair automobiles on a site of that size. The request is again to reduce those sizes specifically for a select set of motorcycles and similar type vehicles. The argument being those vehicles are smaller, and therefore they can still meet all of the requirements of the ordinance on that smaller lot. Now, I'll remind the commissioners that presently all of these uses in almost every circumstance requires a conditional use permit. That's not anticipated to change. So this would just allow someone the opportunity to ask for a conditional use permit on a smaller lot. So the specific amendment is here in front of you, and specifically speaking to motorcycles, motor-driven cycles, mopeds, or autocycles, which are all defined in state code, and allowing any business that is working exclusively with those types of vehicles to be able to have a minimum lot size of 5,000 square feet and 50 feet in width. And for anybody else working with any other type of vehicle, that you still have the existing 20,100 feet of width. And with that, I will stand by for any questions.
Question? Sure. Thank you. We do have two folks signed up to speak. Maeve Harris. Is Maeve Harris here? Ms. Harris, if you would start with your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Maeve Harris. My mailing address is 150 West Main Street, Norfolk, Virginia.
And tell us what you'd like to share today.
Well, I don't really know how much I'm going to say today, but I've been working with Wesley Francis, who you'll hear from in a bit, who is the owner of Plain Jane Garage, which is a motorcycle repair and sales business, and it's operating, or it wants to operate, at 1012 George Street. And you'll hear from Wesley how it's a family-run operation. He and his family have operated businesses outside of this building for years, since the 70s. But because of the current zoning ordinance, they're faced with obstacles. And so I think that this amendment would allow Wesley, with a conditional use permit, of course, to maintain his business, which brings it, sorry, I wasn't really prepared to speak today. But you'll see or hear from Wesley that he has a strong business. It receives national, international recognition. He serves his community. He's active in the Civic League, and he keeps to himself. It's not a loud business. I think it would bring a lot to the community.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Harris? No. Thank you very much. Wesley Francis.
Hey there, good afternoon. My name is Wesley Francis. This is in regards to 1012 George Street. So yeah, like she mentioned, I have a business named Plain Jane Garage. I basically repair antique motorcycles. It's all antique Harleys, 1980 back to the 30s. As she mentioned, the building, it was my grandfather's, it was automotive upholstery, sorry. But it was Will's Auto Upholstery. I don't know if you guys ever remember it, but yeah, he operated there for about 50 years. And then when my uncle, who was running it, retired, I came in and tried to take it over and, chase my dreams and pursue my passion, So yeah, basically, as Jeremy stated, the ordinance at this point, if I don't have 20,000 square feet, I can't repair motorcycles. And right now we have, I think it's just over 10,000 square feet. So yeah, that's basically why we're here. Just would like to pursue my dream, yeah. So,
Thank you, Mr.
thank you all,
Francis.
yeah, thank you for your
If you'll,
consideration.
just for a moment, does
Yeah.
anyone have any questions for Mr. Francis? No? Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments from the commissioners before we vote? No? Susan?
Okay, the motion is to recommend approval of the text amendment. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells? Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
I'd just like to say thank you, Mr. Francis, for your business in Norfolk, and I vote aye.
And Ms. Sutter.
Aye. We'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you.
Item number 3, Mudslingers Drive-Through Coffee for conditional use permit to operate a drive-through facility, large scale, at 1819 East Little Creek Road. The purpose of this request is to allow a retail goods establishment to operate a drive-through facility, large scale.
Thank you, Susan. Good afternoon, Commissioners. The site is on the south side of East Little Creek Road in the Wedgwood Shopping Plaza. Proposed use is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates the site as commercial. Property is on CR Regional Commercial. This facility is proposing a 2-lane drive-through, which makes it a drive-through facility large scale by the definition of our zoning ordinance. And to operate a drive-through facility large scale in the CR district, you need a conditional use permit. So here we have a picture of the site. Again, it's going to be all the way towards the front of that shopping plaza. Here's the proposed layout. They're going to be open from 6 to 9 Monday, 7 days a week. That, if you remember during the mid-month meeting, I said that they wanted to be open 6 to 9, and then 6 to 9 Monday through Friday, and then 8 to 9 Saturday and Sunday. We did receive the amended application, so it will be 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. On the bottom right corner, you can see one of their existing stores that they have elsewhere in the country. And then on the left side, you can see the site layout showing the 2 drive-through lanes, one on the left side of the building and one on the right. There are some minor modifications that will need to be made to this layout, but they will be handled during the building permit review process. Staff is recommending approval. The use aligns with Plan Norfolk 2030. The building is small without indoor seating, and the CUP will tie to the site plan, subject to any revisions necessary during the building permit or site plan processes. I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. We do have the applicant signed up to speak, or applicants signed up to speak. Jonathan and Julie Karekas. How'd I do?
Perfect.
Ah, wonderful.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to make myself available in case anybody had any questions in regards to this. This is a project my wife and I have been working on for a while, but because of military deployments and stuff like that, we haven't actually been able to get it started. So I want to just make myself available if anybody has any questions for anything.
I was so impressed that I got your name right. I forgot to tell you to give your name and address first. Could you please?
My name is Jonathan Karekas, and my address is 212 Hornbeam Drive, Virginia Beach.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Karekas?
I just had a question because it's a very curious and interesting business model. So how did you come up with this?
I did not come up with it. I was stationed in Seattle, and over there they have or in the Washington, Oregon area. As you imagine, they have a lot of coffee stores. So this is a smaller model. It helps keep the overhead down to be able to provide and service more customers. And they're particularly popular in military areas where a lot of people were making stops before they're getting on and off base. So I didn't come up with the idea. I just borrowed it.
Okay, you could have taken note.
I think I remember those little shops for photo development stores. I'm showing my age. But, yeah, no, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Karekas? No? Awesome, thank you very much. Susan, any comments before we go to the vote? All right, Susan.
The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter.
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out.
Item number 4, Soulful Vegan Events for the following conditional use permits at 1200 East Little Creek Road. A, for a flea market indoor. B, for a flea market outdoor. C, a banquet hall. The purpose of these requests is to allow the operation of a flea market, both indoor and outdoor, and a banquet hall facility.
Hello, Commissioners. This applicant is Soulful Vegan Events. They're applying for a conditional use permit at 1200 East Little Creek Road. The site is located on the northeast corner of Pythian Avenue and East Little Creek Road. The proposal is to allow the operation of a flea market, both indoor and outdoor, and a banquet hall facility. The proposed use is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates this site as commercial. The site is zoned CC, Community Commercial. The applicant proposes to operate a flea market, indoor and outdoor, and a banquet hall facility with no live entertainment or alcohol beverages on premise. A conditional use permit is required to operate a flea market and banquet hall in the CC district. This is the proposed floor plan for the banquet hall with a capacity of 42. This is the parking plan for the proposed use. Banquet halls in a suburban character district are required one off-street parking space for every 150 square feet of enclosed building space. The flea market in a suburban character district are required one parking space per 25 feet of the building. The banquet hall CUP requires 10.5 parking spaces, and the flea market requires 6 parking spaces. Therefore, that's a total of 16 parking spaces required. There are 31 parking spaces that are provided on site and will be properly identified. The applicant also has a verbal agreement with the adjacent property, Manhattan Beauty Supply, to provide additional 20 parking spaces. Hours of operation for the flea market are 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. on Sunday. Hours of operation for the banquet hall is 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. 7 days a week. The total capacity is 42 for both the flea market and the banquet hall, indoor. Staff recommends approval. The use aligns with Plan Norfolk 2030. No alcohol beverages on premise, no live entertainment is being proposed for the banquet hall. Any other questions?
Questions? Thank you. We do have quite a few people signed up to speak. So let's start with the applicant, Triana Kelly. Kelty, I apologize. I thought that was a T. Yeah. And if you would, please start name and address. I got in trouble last time.
Triana Kelty, 2225 Reservoir Avenue, Norfolk, Virginia, 23504.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell us about your business there.
So we have Soulful Vegan Events, also doing business as Black on Black Market. It's a pop-up market for Black-owned businesses to come and pop up. And especially in this economy with so many people shutting their doors, we provide a space for Black-owned businesses to come. They don't have to have their own lease. They can come, pop up Monday through Friday. Right now it's Saturday and Sunday, but we are hoping Monday through Sunday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Ms. Kelty?
The pop-ups are with the vendors outside
Vendors outside and inside.
in the banquet hall? Or
Yes.
just the-
But they're not permanent.
No, they're pop-up.
That's the pop-up
Yes.
aspect of it. I think there, based on the emails that we received from the Civic League, there were some concerns about parking as well as music. Could you say more about?
Yes.
I suppose their original concerns about folks parking in the neighborhood.
Correct.
Could you share more about that?
Well, when I went to the Civic League, the only question they had was about parking. But the parking, they were saying about Pythian Street, are people parking on Pythian Street. And particularly right there, can I go show you? Or that
once
opening
you-
right there where it says front parking, when you're turning on Pythian, if someone parks right there, it's very dangerous. And I definitely agree with them. So what we've started doing is putting cones all the way from where it says front parking to where it says back parking. That way no one can park there.
I see.
Now, of course, people are going to be people, and so people sometimes, try to park there, and we have hired staff to move them along on Saturday in particular because that's our busiest day. And as far as anything above Pythian, our neighbor behind us actually parks in our lot, and she allows people to park in front of her building if we need it. And since that we have implemented parking right on Manhattan Beauty Supplies, we have not really needed any parking on Pythian.
Okay.
As far as music, we have a radio, and I turned the radio up to the highest level it can go, and if you walk past where it says parking, 12 spaces, you cannot hear it past that space.
I imagine someone can hear it. It's just
No, I
based
mean
off
like the neighborhood
Mhm.
cannot, you can't.
That's what I meant, that
Yeah.
someone in the neighborhood hears it. It was addressed in the letter. Maybe someone just has some really good hearing.
Maybe.
Any other questions for Ms. Kelty?
You said you was looking to potentially come back to do the for the banquet hall.
Say it one more time.
I think you for the hours of operations. Say you was looking to do potentially come back to get it extended.
She was saying with the flea market that she would initially only did the weekends, but her application does allow it 7 days a week.
Okay.
Yes, to clarify, Mr. Pendleton, The applicant is working under a temporary use for the weekends only at this moment, and so that's as allowed by the zoning ordinance, so testing out the use at this moment.
We'll be voting for it to have the access Monday through Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think I wanted to go back to parking, if that's
Okay.
okay. Because right now, it appears we far exceeded the minimum required in parking.
Yes.
What is your relationship like with the Civic League?
I've only been to the Civic League once. It was very hostile when I went there.
So you've been open on just weekends for the market?
Yes, Saturday and
Has there
Sunday.
been issues that people have parked on the concerning street?
Yes, when we first opened, they were parking on Pythian. Didn't know that it was an issue with people because they weren't blocking intersections or anything. And so when I went to the Civic League and heard their concerns, that's when we started to implement the no parking. I would like to add, when I first got the building, there was a no parking sign right there by the front parking. It's disappeared, it's gone. And so what we've taken the initiative to do again is to put the cones there so no one can park on Pythian.
Is that something that we can look into, the parking sign?
Yeah,
The sign.
you said that the sign was near where the fire hydrant is, correct?
No, right where that white dot is, right,
Okay.
that pole,
Yes.
there was a sign there.
Okay, we'll take a look. We'll share that with the Director of Transportation.
And there is a sign adjacent to there that is still there, but the sign here is gone.
Okay. I think that might be helpful with our parking issues, too. Any other questions for Ms. Kelty? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll probably call you back up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, I have Velvet Jacobs. Okay, thank you, but you're you're a proponent of this? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Michael Ryan? Payan. I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Payan.
Good afternoon,
Good
ladies and
afternoon.
gentlemen. My name is Michael Payan.
Your
I'm the
address,
land,
please.
ma'am?
Your address, please.
Address, I'm the owner of the building, which is 1200 East Little Creek Road. Do you want my home address?
No, this is fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm here to support my tenants of the business she's doing. And I acquired that building about 7 years ago. And when I acquired the building, there was a car stereo installation business there. And they have business hours like 10 to like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And what they do is they install the stereo and then they test it and with the loud music. And so back then, since it was during the day, I didn't have any complaints from the neighborhood, so I was afraid. But I thought, maybe the music that someone's the concern is the loud in their situation. But the radio, I went there the few the events they were doing. The noise that coming from the radio is not even compared to what used to be. So I don't know who is complaining about the music, but that's the what I felt. And I think the business she's doing is really, I mean, it brings the revenue, but they also a lot of contribution to the community is doing the good things. So that's why I approved her application when she submitted, and we discussed what her business was going to be, So I thought it was a good thing that I let her do what she will be doing. So, so that's.
Mr. Payan. Do we have any questions for Mr. Payan? No? Thank you for coming out.
Oh, the one thing.
Oh,
can I
yes,
add?
please.
As far as the parking, the other side of the beauty supply, there's a building right next to us, used to be a Howard Hanna Realty, and they moved out, and so the buildings are vacant, and then they're for sale, and a lot of customers or visitors there coming to her event, they park there, which is about 50 the visitors lot, so that's the parking they can use. But the only issue is the customer, the visitor visiting, does not follow the direction of the sign. That's the issue, I think. So, if there's a properly marked, then I don't think there will be any issues.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Okay.
That's a great point. All right, next, Sunshine Johnson. Ms. Johnson,
Good afternoon.
you say your name and your address, please.
Yes, my name is Sunshine Johnson, and original address is 1782 Napa Street, Monterey, California.
Tell us why you're here today.
Yes. I am the owner and operator behind Elevu Baking. I specialize in bread making, and I'm here today not just as a small business owner, but as a proud participant in attendance with the Black on Black Market. It's been more than just a place to set up a table and sell my products. It's been as a launch pad and a living testament to what happens when a community is given space to support itself. What makes this market unique isn't just the goods or the foot traffic, it's the intention behind it. It's organized and operated by someone who truly cares, not someone just chasing profits, but investing in people. I see the effort and the heart and the sacrifice it takes to run the space, and also I feel that the pride comes from just being a part of something that's rooted in purpose and love for the community. So approving this conditional use permit isn't just about allowing tents and tables again. It's about affirming that this marketplace is for all people to come and shop and welcoming. I actually brought some of my goods for you guys. I love a smile. Ooh, I love a smile, guys. If I can give it to you guys, is anybody gluten-free?
I'm not sure if we can accept.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Even though, it's a delicious bribe, but we cannot take it.
It's not a bribe. I love a laugh. It's not a bribe, though. Well, I have it if you guys want some. No problem.
Very generous.
Thank you, guys. God bless you guys.
Thank you for coming out. Any
Thanks.
questions for Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you very much. And maybe folks in the audience might want some bread. And we have several folks who have signed up as a proponent, but did not wish to speak. So I'll just run their names really quickly. Yvette Bass Knight Little, Renata, and I'm so sorry. There it is. Darylyn Olds, Elvia Shields, Roslyn Olds, Cameron Taylor, and Marilyn Richardson. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. Now, we do have one opponent, and let's see, I'm calling up Anthony DeBarge. All right.
Anthony DeBarge, 7921 Pythian Avenue.
Thank you.
So now, as far as the parking lot across the street with the verbal agreement, what happens when that verbal agreement goes away? A parking lot on the right side, they're saying they want to use, or he's saying they're going to use because nobody's there. You lose that. Out front, the parking spaces out front, the 15 spaces, when she does the outdoor flea market, they're gone. There are no spaces out front anymore. So you lose them right off the bat when she has the outdoor flea market, which that's what's been going on the whole time. The first couple or few weeks that it went on, they lined Pythian all the way down with cars. Didn't care if they halfway blocked driveways, what happened, it didn't matter. It created chaos and confusion for sure. It was quite the mess to deal with living on 7900 block and anybody else passing through the neighborhood, which we are a cut-through street, so we get a lot of traffic. As far as the banquet goes, June 7th, 2025, at 10:30 at night, while it was wilding out there and the street was taken over again. They weren't parking in the other parking lots, or they had them also, so God knows how many people were there, as people lined our street everywhere hanging out. It wasn't just at their facility, it was all up and down the street. So there are a lot of issues here with all of it. So I just wanted to come and state my piece of what happened to me as far as living on that street and the chaos it created with that. And of course, wanting more spaces and have more vendors and more vendors, it's gonna take more parking, more parking. When you're already using your parking and taking it away from yourself, I don't see how that works. So I don't feel this is the type of business for in a neighborhood backing up to homes. And then it was like a nightclub on June 7th. It was quite the fiasco. So, and then police showed up and people were scurrying everywhere. So that's my take on it.
May I ask you a question, Mr. DeBarge?
Ma'am?
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
You're saying you saw vendors in that where it says front parking, 15 spaces?
Yeah, 15 spaces, that's where they set out the tents and all for the outdoor.
Okay,
The outdoor takes over the whole front.
okay.
Or most of the front, I don't want to mislead anybody. Most of the front is what they use, except for the little bit for the lady that owns Shoe Tree at 3. She keeps a few spaces for herself. Her business doesn't seem to over-occupy.
Okay.
A nice, pleasant business for the neighborhood.
And June 7th at 10:30 PM,
Yes, ma'am.
and the police were called.
I don't know whether they were called, but they were sure
But
out
they
there in
showed up.
3 or 4 cars deep. Yes, ma'am.
Do we know if there's a report?
We'll look right now.
Oh, when we have you back up, we'll get more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, before you go,
Oh,
please.
yes, ma'am.
I
Sorry.
had a couple of questions,
Yes,
but I wanted to take a step back and see if anyone has any other questions for Mr. DeBarge. Am I pronouncing that right?
D-Bar, yes, ma'am.
DeBarge,
That's
okay.
perfect.
I do. So right now, the market was open just on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And how often was
Well,
the,
some food trucks came in on a Thursday or Friday for a week or two, and then that stopped. And it went back to just Friday and
how often on
Saturday.
the weekends was that parking lot with the 15 out front used for the vendors
Every time.
every time?
As far as I know, unless I'm missing something and I missed out, that was the outdoor, that's the part of the outdoor. That's what they're using for the outdoor.
Any other questions for Mr. DeBarge? No? If you would stand by, okay? Please have a seat, but we'll probably end up calling you back up. Thank you very much. All right. Ms. Kelty, would you come back up, please?
Yes.
So tell us more about, I know for me, I'd like to hear more about June 7th.
Okay. So we have the temporary use, and a mother wanted to have a graduation party for her child. We only allow 40 people in the building. As soon as it hit over 40, because we're always in the building, as soon as it hit over 40, we shut it down. So I guess it was the child posted it, somebody else posted it, and as soon as it hit over 40, I said, Mom, I do not want to call the police on these kids. You need to disperse. Gave them about 20, 30 minutes. When they did not, I called the police myself. My sister called the police as well, because one person called and I didn't feel like it was quick enough, so I called again. And then everyone dispersed. So that's what happened on June 7th.
Thank you.
Yes. And as far as the parking in the front, the spaces in the front there, that's where we primarily have vendors, and in the middle as well. We still allow parking where that truck is, all along there. And if we need it, we can use all of that parking as well. Depending on how many vendors we have set up for that day, we give them the option to either be inside or be outside. But that front row, for the most part, people can still park there. As far as the food trucks that were there the first 2 weeks, we were given the permission to open, I guess accidentally. I don't know what happened within planning or the commission or whomever it goes to. So we were open way before this whole process started. And then someone came back and said, we apologize, we gave you the permission to open on accident. You have to go through the conditional use permit process. So we had food trucks out there prior to this whole process.
So will you go to your 7-day events, will you end up with food trucks as well? Is that your anticipated idea, not just flea market, but food trucks?
Well, it's not my anticipated idea, but we do have in our flea market, food trucks do come. So we have maybe one or two, one that comes maybe every Saturday, but it's not every day. And they park along where it says that side parking. They park right there or right there in front by our sign.
I think oh, go right ahead.
I'm confused about the front parking. I thought we were told that the vendor was only going to be to the right of the building, the vending, and that's why there would be a full 15 spaces. So could you explain that?
Ms. Kelty, if you'll just a moment.
Sit down.
Oh, hang out for a minute. I think we have.
So
more
yes,
questions.
so the front parking, as far as the site plan that I was given, it says 15 parking spaces. And then the site plan also states that the vendor parking, is 4 spaces on the side parking where the vendors would be located.
Okay, so it seems like there's been some confusion. And so I'm glad we're having this conversation so that we can get some clarity. Thank you, Sherry. So will you tell us specifically where, because I was operating from, I'm going to speak for me.
Okay.
I was operating under the assumption that you were already exceeding your minimum parking just, with the lots on the premises. Then we were adding more with that agreement that you have with the folks next door.
Okay.
And so I wanted to hear directly from you. On all the, the spaces on the right, where are the vendors? And that includes food trucks, all the folks. What is no longer available for parking?
What we're proposing is no longer available for parking Saturday and Sunday. This is not Monday through Friday. This is Saturday and Sunday. Are those 7 parking spaces in the front, right by where my sign is?
7 out of the 15.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 7 parking spaces right in the front. Monday through Friday, there will not be any vendors outside. Everyone's inside.
Okay. And Saturday and Sunday, that's your busiest time.
Saturday is. Sunday's really slow. We have not even been operating on Sunday, actually.
But you haven't been operating Monday through Friday either.
No.
Yeah.
But I
Well, I
think that Monday through Friday would be slower.
Yeah. I'm going to step back again. Does anyone else want to ask Ms. Kelty any other questions?
Kelty, can you address the question about the parking on Pythian and blocking driveways and so forth? I mean, I know you can't
Yeah.
control your patrons.
Well, again, that was my first time hearing at the Civic League meeting, which was a month ago. So since that month, what we've been able to do is put the parking cones up. Again, our neighbor and behind us, who uses our parking lot, allows us to park in front of her, not blocking the driveway, but in front of her, house as well. I will say that during the meeting, although hostile, there were a gentleman there and 2 women that said, we don't have a problem with them parking on Pythian. We have a problem when they turn in to Pythian and that is accident prone right there. You turn it in and someone's standing there. They're not here today, but they did say that during the meeting. My goal is to not have people park on Pythian. If that's going to stop the confusion in the neighborhood, not to park on Pythian, again, we have hired someone to work on parking on Saturdays.
Where is the Howard Hanna building that was vacated?
On the right of where it says side parking.
So what if that is sold or leased? Won't that parking then be needed?
We don't depend on that parking. We depend on what we have now, which is the 20 spaces. The 20 spaces that says vendor parking, it's not just for vendors. If our vendors don't take it up, then if it's available, we're able to use it. And it's no longer a written agreement. I mean, a verbal agreement. I have a written agreement with them.
And what is the time span on that?
There's no time span. She just said that we're able to use it.
Said you have a written agreement for that?
I do, and I can email that.
Is that from the owner or from the operator?
The owner of Manhattan Beauty Supply.
But not the building owner.
Not the building. The building owner is verbal. The person that owns Manhattan is written. But Miss Esther from Manhattan has allowed us to use that space, and that's the owner of the building. And we've been doing it every weekend with no problem.
have a couple questions.
Yes.
Do you have signage directing patrons over to the beauty supply store if needed for overflow parking?
Well, we have staff who are here that directs them over to, and we have signage on Pythian that says parking this way.
Okay. The 7 spaces out front,
Mhm.
is that for 7 vendors total, or do you have a maximum number of vendors that you plan for?
Well, 20 vendors total, that's what we said originally outside, but that's if they have a tent or not, because the tent is 10 by 10. So if they could take up one space, so it could be 7 vendors out there, it could be 10 vendors out there, depending on if they have a tent or not.
So even for the vendors, they may not park there. That is extended as a,
That's our parking, well, not our parking, we're allowed to use that parking if, whenever needed.
but it wouldn't be used for parking. It could be used as vendor space.
The 20 for
I'm
Manhattan?
I'm asking for clarification.
No, not vendor pop-up space, vendor parking space, not to pop
Okay.
up. Now, they have proposed that we do a market together, but that's, that's nothing in writing or anything like
Okay.
that.
So vendors park in those 20 spaces, but some could be for,
Have been
And
for
have been
patrons.
for
Mhm.
patrons. 7 out of the 15 in the front can, you
On
intend to
Saturdays.
use, on Saturdays,
Mhm.
can be used for vendor pop-up.
Correct.
And then where it says vendor parking, I'm sorry, where it says parking and vendor area, that is also
That's
vendor
all
space.
parking. That's all parking.
On the right.
That's all parking there. On the right where it says side parking vendor area.
Mhm.
So we could either use it, it's either or. Right now, it's been parking. And we have 2 rows of cars that can fit right there. And
Okay.
still a regress and ingress area.
And so you have 7 in the front parking, and then the back parking, is there any vendor pop-up there?
No, that's just parking.
Okay.
And the purpose of the vendors, if we're all, in all honesty, to be in the front, is so people know that to come in. They don't know that your flea market and businesses are in there unless you see someone out there. So we would have to have, for it to be successful, for the business and the businesses who have invested in this, is that you have some people out there, even if it's me or whoever, other businesses out there, to let people know, hey, come on in and shop the businesses.
Madam Chair, I have a parking follow-up question, if I may. Ms. Kelty, the person behind you, the woman behind you, I think it's 7912, it looks like she doesn't have a driveway, but you let her park in your parking lot?
Yes, we
Does she have
have-
1 car or 2?
She has, she parks there Monday through Friday. Sometimes it's 2 cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't use it on the weekend?
No,
You
every
gotta pull it
weekend
back
she
for the
moves it
weekend?
right to the street, every weekend.
Thank you.
So that sometimes there are her cars on the street as well.
I feel like the biggest crux right now is parking. And quite a bit of it is taken up by vendors either parking their own personal vehicles or vendor space, which doesn't leave us a lot of parking for, your patrons.
What is the minimum parking? I think I saw it somewhere, I just didn't know there was a minimum parking.
The parking based on this use is based on the building, but as the commission has noted, there's outdoor vendors, which is not a requirement for the parking, but is allowed to be considered by the commission as you make your decision for the conditional use permit.
I would also think that you would need permission from the property owner, not the owner of the business, to allow her to use those extra spaces. I also will point out that that event should not have happened.
And could you say more? I mean,
Yeah, can you
specifically
elaborate on
about
that?
the event?
Because that's a banquet, and you could not have banquets until you got your CUP.
But I was told that my temporary
That was
was
for your flea
Monday, was
market.
every Saturday and Sunday, because I asked that several times. This has been very confusing across the board, because I was able to open, and then you all came back and said, no, you're not able to open, we're sorry we made a mistake, not you all, but we're sorry we made a mistake. And then, talked to, I think her name was Jessica or Ashley, I talked to her, and she said, yes, you're able to open and run as if regularly every Saturday and Sunday, and that event was a Saturday.
That's for flea market.
That's nowhere that I was told.
So is there a way we can continue this and get some answers about some of this that I'd like to see about how we can regulate parking on Pythian? I'd like to hear from the owners, as you said, that the building owner needs to have that form that you've asked for. I think we have some new questions, because I think all of us were laboring under the idea that the front parking was totally available, and that is not the case.
I would agree with you, Dr. Windley. Thank you.
I'm so much in favor of what you're trying to put forth, but we're just wrestling with how do we help you make this work? And I'm looking at the neighboring property, the Manhattan Beauty School, where you're just taking 20 spaces.
She has a
She has
has
huge parking lot.
huge parking
So
spots.
Perhaps there's some more parking there that can be obtained.
Okay.
So, yeah, we should look into different options for you, but, or you.
I would like to say that, although I respect that, my temporary permit runs out July 15th? No, July, whatever that first Saturday is in July. And me putting all of this money into this business because someone gave me the permission to open. And I opened, did everything I was supposed to do, and for you all to, not you all, I know I keep saying that, but you all to come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't know this was a market, even though my application said market. And then I talked to the council member, and that's how we got here.
That's also why I want to continue it.
Right.
Because I don't think we should vote. And I think we should make some provisions that this temporary provision can be extended until we get more information. I mean, is that something we can do?
Is that possible?
It was supposed to be 16 weeks, I believe.
I'm not, is she on a temporary use approval? What is, I just don't know what the temporary.
She's on a temporary use approval for the site to do outdoor market at the moment. We don't.
I just haven't looked at it. Maybe if you want to drop this down, we can identify exactly if that's available and what steps we need to take. We could revisit this item and you can make a determination as to whether there's a way to continue this without causing the operation to go dark during the
It
continuance.
does appear that you were under good faith, even though it may have been erroneous. And so I don't think we should penalize her for that.
I would agree.
Right.
And when you say drop this down, just pause on this item.
Well, right, if you want to conclude the public comment period and then suspend taking a vote on this, defer taking a vote on this until later in the agenda today, then you could return to it maybe after the other items are completed.
I would like to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what's my steps?
So right now, don't
Okay.
go anywhere.
Okay.
We're going to find out more about extending the ability to continue as you have been.
Okay.
Until, because I hear that there's a request for a motion to pause for a moment.
Okay.
Defer, just for the moment, and then, but we don't want that to adversely affect your ability to
keep
remain in
going.
business.
Okay.
And there's more I'd like to say, but what I want to say, at least for now, is let's have as much information as possible.
Okay.
And then we'll defer until later today in
Okay.
this same public hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
So don't go, so stay here.
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
We want to talk to you again.
Okay.
Okay, and I would also ask Mr. DeBarge, would you remain as well? Thank you very much. Okay, that's teamwork. Thank you very much. We will find out more information, and I guess once we know more, we'll bring you back up, okay? Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to move on to item number 5, Rifle Farms Market and Co-op for a conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages off premises at 4301 Pleasant Avenue. The purpose of this request is to allow a retail goods establishment to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption.
Good afternoon, Commission. Location south side of Pleasant Avenue, west of 23rd Bay Street. This is in the East Beach neighborhood. Existing conditions are commercial and proposal to allow an existing retail goods establishment to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. Proposed use is consistent with Plan Over 2030, designates this as residential mixed. Zoning is PDMU East Beach Plan Development Mixed Use. In this district, a CUP is required for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. Here's a picture of the site. Rifle Farms sells specialty food items including bison products, cheeses, coffee, kombucha, and desserts. The establishment has opened, been in operation since November of 2024. And for experience, the applicant owns a similar retail store in West Virginia that sells beer and wine. Here's a copy of the floor plan.
hours of operation, be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And staff recommends approval, subject to conditions in the staff report, and the East Ocean View Civic League voted not to oppose the application. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. Susan?
No one signed up?
Oh, gosh. No. Yes. Yes. We do have the applicant here, Elizabeth Rifle. Would you like to add anything?
I can add all kinds of things. You can tell me what you would like to do.
Why don't you go ahead and come up? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Riffle. Mailing address is 9552 10th Bay Street, Norfolk, which is 23518. And I am the owner of this business, and we have been open and operating since just after Thanksgiving. And we would like to sell alcoholic beverages to go, beer and wine, for folks to take with them with all of their other produce and goods that we have locally made and sourced.
Thank you. Ms. Riffle, I'm sorry I mispronounced it a moment ago. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Riffle?
I do have a question.
Yes.
So we've been pronouncing your establishment as Rifle. Is it Riffle?
It's Riffle, yes.
Okay.
Double Fs.
Makes it- I
Yeah,
knew the way
Rifle
it
would have
spelled.
been wicked good, but yeah. So it is Riffle.
You just make the one F like half tone.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Riffle? I have a double in my name as well, so I get it. I should have
Yeah.
known better.
I know, it's the last name thing.
All right, well, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Susan?
The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley? Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutterth?
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you for coming out.
Okay. Item number 6, the Ten Top Market for conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages off-premise at 5115 Collie Avenue. The purpose of this request is to allow a retail goods establishment to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption.
Hello again. Location of the site, southwest corner of Collie Avenue and 52nd Street. This is in the Highland Park neighborhood. Existing conditions are commercial and proposed to allow retail goods establishment to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. Proposed use is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, designate the site as commercial. Zoning is CC. In the CC district, a CUP is required for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. Here's a picture of the site. The site was previously the Norfolk Wood Shop. Applicant plans to have a market-style to-go establishment with pre-made sandwiches, soups, salads, and ready-to-eat dinners. The applicant also owns the 10 Top in Ghent, which obtained a CUP for on and off ABC sales earlier this year. Here's a picture of the floor plan. Proposed hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions in the staff report, and the Highland Park Civic League voted to support the application.
Any questions for Andrew? No, we do have the applicant here, Rick Fraley. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Fraley? Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Fraley? No, thank you for coming out. All right.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley? Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutterth?
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you for coming out.
Okay, item number 7, Lupita's Mexican and Latin American Restaurant for conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages on premises at 9610 First View Street. The purpose of this request is to allow a restaurant to sell alcoholic beverages for on-premises consumption.
Okay. This applicant is Lupita Mexican and Latin American Restaurant. They are applying for a conditional use permit at 9610 First View Street. The site is located on the southeast corner of First View Street and A Avenue. The proposal is to allow a restaurant to sell alcohol beverages for on-premise consumption. The proposed use is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates this site as commercial. The site is zoned CN, Neighborhood Commercial, and 60 DNL. The site is located within a low-impact noise zone, and the proposed use is compatible within the zone. The applicant is proposing to operate a restaurant with the sale of alcohol beverages for on-premise consumption. Currently, sales of alcohol beverages for on-premise consumption after 5 p.m. requires a conditional use permit. This is the proposed site. An eating establishment has been operating at this facility since 2009. The applicant has begun operating in April of 2024 and is now proposing to operate with the sale of alcohol beverages on premise. There is no increase in occupancy or building floor area is being proposed. Hours of operation and sale of alcohol beverages on premise, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. on Sunday, with the occupancy of 49 total capacity. Staff does recommend approval. The use aligns with Plan Norfolk 2030. The restaurant is located among similar uses. The hours of operation are limited, and the applicant has operated at this location since 2024 without any issues. Any other questions for this one?
Any questions, Sherry? No, thank you. I do not have anyone signed up to speak. Is anyone here for Lupita's? Oh, thank you. Okay, would you like to add anything to what's been said, or does anyone have any questions? Yes, please do come up. We're going to give you a little sign-up sheet. Looks like that.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I got stuck in traffic.
Oh, I can believe it.
Hi, my name is Maria Sierra Angel. It's nice to meet you guys.
Could you start with your address? And
Nine-
the address of the location is fine.
The address of the location is 9610 First View Street, Norfolk, Virginia. I always get the zip code confused. But, I'm currently the owner of Lupita's Mexican and Latin American restaurants. As mentioned, we've been in business since 2024, and owning the restaurant has been a big dream for my family. So that is, in general, is like a wonderful thing. But the one thing that always keeps holding us back from going full thriving is that we don't sell alcohol. We get a lot of tourists, especially now in the summer, coming from Nova or out of state, and one of the first things they always ask or request is an alcoholic beverage, and each time I have to be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And usually they leave the premises because they want some alcohol, and I can't do that. So giving the permit would greatly mean a lot of appreciation and thankfulness for us if you could allow it.
Thank you. Just a moment. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, please do.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for being a family business and sticking around. We had some questions when we were talking about your establishment, and it had to do with not knowing that you don't own the building. Would you still be able to enhance the building with landscaping or trying to do anything that's been?
Yeah, so the owner of the building is a family friend, and she's very lenient in working with us, but at this current time, I don't necessarily see a plan of changing the outline of the building, like the interior of the building, just because it is a nice way, whereas like the dining area is just one central location, so I can keep an eye on everyone, making sure everyone's orderly.
And maybe I didn't make myself clear.
Oh,
The building is
sorry.
gonna stay, and then we're not talking about the interior. We're talking about the curb, the sidewalk. It looks like a parking lot that comes right up to the building, the sidewalk, and there's the building. If you could, it's just something, had some plants out there, it might soften the parking lot to the building.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Would it be possible to bring up that picture of the building? Maybe that might be helpful to clarify
There you go.
that little piece of green right there.
Yeah, you can definitely add plants to it if need be. At the corner section at the side of the building, we started adding some flowers to it, so it's slowly growing.
You're already way ahead of us.
Any other questions?
Ms. Angel, the restaurant in its current name was started in 2024, April 2024. Was there a restaurant there before? Did you operate
Yeah,
prior
so
under a different name?
it was under Carmen's restaurant based on the old owner, but initially they just wanted to keep it as is to make it an easy transition, but I didn't want any of her association. I wanted to make it my own name, so we're slowly changing the
You're
everything
not
about it.
affiliated with that business
No.
at all in private? Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
All right, any comments or questions for staff before we vote? All right, thank you, Susan.
The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye, and thank you for getting here, and I appreciate you.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young? Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
Ms. Sutter?
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you.
To item number 8, Susan Matthews for conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental, vacation rental at 6239 Edward Street. The purpose of this request is to allow a single-family home to operate as a short-term rental unit.
Thank you, Susan. So as Susan mentioned, this item is for 6239 Edward Street. Request for a conditional use permit to operate a vacation rental in a 3-bedroom single-family home on the west side of Edward Street, between Strand Street and Geneva Way in the Shadywood East neighborhood. A short-term rental does not conflict with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates the property as single-family traditional. The property is zoned SF10. In SF10, all vacation rentals are required to have a CUP to operate. Here we see the site for the proposed short-term rental. This home was built in 1950. It's been owned by the current owner since May of 2000. The applicant will be adding foundation screening shrubs to the front of the house. The applicant's property manager will be listed as the contact. He is in Williamsburg, but would contact the applicant's neighbor or relative of the applicant for any issues that would need an in-person response. For the neighborhood analysis, within 500 feet, approximately 51% of all residential parcels and 28% of all residential units are single-family. All-inclusive, if this application were approved, approximately 1.25% of residential parcels and 0.7% of residential units in 500 feet would be short-term rentals. There is another property on your agenda, 3 doors to the south of this, that is not included in those numbers. And then staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Russell? No? Thank you very much. We do have a few folks signed up to speak today. The applicant, Susan Matthews, if you will, please join us up front with your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is Susan Matthews. My address, home address or the property address?
The property address
Okay,
is fine.
property address, again, is 6239 Edward Street, Norfolk, Virginia.
Maybe tell us about the property. You've owned it since 2000, so maybe.
Yes, originally, this property, well, we live in Connecticut.
Mhm.
So the property was originally bought from my parents, my mother and my father, and my uncle, if the picture was up, my uncle and aunt lives next door. So since my parents have passed, we really don't come down to visit the home as much. And then with the younger generation, they're like, my grandson and my daughter was like, hey, we could, use it for Airbnb. Because when families come to Virginia to vacation over the summer, it's less expensive to go to an Airbnb versus doing a hotel. So with, let's just say if the hotel is charging $279 per night, then again, if you have a large enough family, you have like 3 or 4 rooms. So it's less expensive and everyone is together. They can dine together, they can go to the beach together, and then when they return, they don't have to go to separate rooms per se. And so we thought about it, so we went with the quote unquote, the younger generation's idea. And also for us, when we come down, when we do get a chance to come down and visit, except for today, if there's a tenant there, we can more or less like do our scheduling around the occupancy. So per se, like we drove down last night to come here for this, except for we can't be at the house because right now it's on a long-term rental. So it kind of like stipulates, and if the kids want to come down, they can set their schedule that way.
Any questions for Ms. Matthews?
You said your aunt and your uncle and your aunt are next door and they're going to be basically overseeing the property. What's their experience with overseeing short-term rentals?
Well, for the ones that we did do prior to the long term, my neighbors don't really have an issue. And like I said, my aunt is next door. So she's happy to see someone there at least. And what we do with that is, again, we have cameras there for security systems. Inside, we have stipulations, no parties, none of those things that can occur. And again, like I said, we get to see the property we can actually see it from Connecticut. So if we do have an issue, we can contact that person.
Yes, but what is her experience with overseeing a short-term rental? Like, you got the stipulations, the cameras, like, everything needed, that's great.
You're saying if my
But,
aunt
like,
has any experience?
Yes, has any experience with, because basically she's the property manager.
Yeah,
that's,
no, well, her
like, boots on the
experience is,
ground.
her experience is like, well, she speaks with the people that rent the property. She talks to them, see if they have any issues or concerns. At one point in time, there was one client that locked themselves out. She let them back in. You know, they contacted me, I contacted her, and she was able to let them in and things of that nature.
Would
as
she be
text-
capable, if there was a party and it had to be broken up, is she capable of going over there and breaking the party up?
Physically, no. Telephonically, yes.
Like calling the police?
Yes,
or-
she can call the police officers and things of that nature. And she is also, like, ensures that our tenancy, they make sure that there's parking in front of the home as well. But again, she also makes sure that they park in the driveway and not on the grass and things of that nature. So yes, she physically comes out, walks, looks at the property and things of that nature.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before you go, any other questions for Ms. Matthews? No? All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Next, we have signed up to speak is Rudolfo Matthews.
Hi guys, my name is Rodolfo Matthews and the address is 3269 Edward Street. Okay, Mr. Pellington, just want to go back on that question you asked. We have a manager that takes care of that situation. She is there as a help. If something is going on, she can contact Kevin right away and let him know. We can also see if anything is going on our telephone and wherever we are with those 4 cameras. So if something is going on, she can notify him, he can get there. So I just want to clarify that point. I think.
He's in Williamsburg, so when you say he's gonna be there, like, that's at least an hour drive in Hampton Roads tunnel traffic. So I get where you're coming from. I appreciate the follow up, but I was just more concerned about, to what Susan said, if there's a party, like, does she know how to really address the situation? And yes, calling the police, I'm not expecting her to walk in and start beating up people. I'm not expecting that.
No, we expect it.
So she's fully capable of, hey, this is not right, we need to get the police involved, I'll call the property manager, like,
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with that now.
Yes, and I'm here to answer any question pertaining that Airbnb, because I actually literally put the second part of that house on with my hand, my son, and Susan. So it's so a place where we come also. This is my house. I still have my clothes, everything in that place. It's in a private area, but I still have all my stuff here. And when I come down here, that's my house. So it's not, we're not making a business where we just dump this out on the street and that's it. It's still my house. Okay? So is there any question for me?
Any other questions for Mr. Matthews? Thank you very much. And Ms. Matthews, I believe
thank you.
you might have wanted to add
also
something. Not from there, though, if you wouldn't mind coming back up.
Also, Kevin has staff that works in the area as well as himself. He's like, well, of course, he's working in the area as well. And also my neighbor to the left of me, Mr. Snyder, he has 2 sons that live there that assist us as well. So it's not only my aunt on the right, we also have the neighbors on the left as well.
Thank you.
Well, I did want to ask another question about that. Because of a short-term rental, there needs to be a pretty large sign that people can see, just in case there were some concerns.
Yeah.
Would that phone number be your aunt's number?
Yeah, all the numbers are up there, myself, Kevin, and also my aunt that's next door. It's like right underneath the, yeah, you have a picture. It's like right underneath the mailbox,
Yes.
so you can't miss it.
Okay.
We have it on the outside and we also have it on the inside.
And the reason we ask, and you probably already know this, but I'm saying this for the camera, that we want to be very careful with short-term rentals because this is it could have an adverse effect on the neighbor, on your neighbors.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, whether it's a party or something untoward that might happen. That's a lot of the fears around short-term rentals. And
Yes.
so that's why we require the CUP, and that's why we ask a lot of questions about it. So we
Okay.
wanted, that's why we're being extra careful in the questions that we're asking.
Okay, sure, no worries.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Matthews. I have one more person that signed up to speak, and that would be Kevin. Kevin Jones. And I believe Ms. Matthews referred to you a moment ago. Would you start with your name and your address, please?
Yes, Kevin Jones, and I stay at 175 Merrimack Trail, Winthrop, Virginia, and it's 23185.
And you're the property manager?
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted to speak on the part of being able to get here to take care of any emergencies or anything that's taking place at the property. I'm there once a week, once a day, every week, and it's normally on a Friday. I go by there, I cut the grass, and I check anything that's going on at the property. So with my number being up there, I have had someone to call me just because of something else that's going on down the street, but not pertaining to the property. So, but I'm always in the area. I live in Williamsburg, but my business is in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, and Suffolk. So I'm always on that side, over here on this side in Norfolk or Portsmouth or Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
No problem.
Any other questions for Mr. Jones? No? All right. Thank you very much. We do not have anyone signed up in opposition. So we can, just wanted to open things up for discussion if any of the commissioners wanted to share anything before we go to a vote.
So we have established a 20-minute response contact
Mhm.
that everybody's happy.
Yes. Susan, I think we're ready.
Okay. The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
Aye, and we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you for coming out.
Number 9, Jamila Tatum for a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental, vacation rental at 429 Fauquier Street. The purpose of this request is to allow a single-family home to operate as a short-term rental unit.
Hello again. Site of the property is northwest corner of Fauquier Street and Poplar Avenue. This is in the Berkeley neighborhood. Existing conditions are single-family residential, and proposals to allow the operation of a single-family home as a short-term rental unit. The proposed use is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, designates the site as single-family urban. Zoning is SFT, single-family traditional. In this district, a CUP is required for vacation rentals regardless of bedroom count. Here's a picture of the property. For property management, the applicant has given the name of an individual who will manage the property and act as the emergency contact. This individual has experience in Virginia Beach managing short-term rentals. For improvements, we'll be recommending improvements to the HVAC elevation and the installation of flood vents. For violations, there was one in April 2025 for operating an STR without a permit, 4 violations from May to August in 2022 for tall weeds and grass. For neighbor analysis, within 500 feet, 63% of residential parcels are single-family and 82% of residential units are single-family. If approved, 1% of residential parcels and 1% of residential units within 500 feet would be short-term rentals. Staff recommends approval, subject to conditions of staff report, including flood improvements and a 2-year expiration. Oops, sorry. The Berkeley Beacon Light Civic League does not support this application. Their reasons include possible adverse effects to the community, including environmental impacts, noise, safety, and community goals. They also claim issues with a by right short-term rental in the neighborhood. Questions?
Any questions? No? Thank you very much. We do have the applicant here to speak. Jamila Tatum. If you would, please start with your name and your address and tell us about the property.
Hello, my name is Jamila Tatum. I think I have the most beautiful house in Norfolk. I'm a travel nurse, so I'm not here full-time, but I do have a representative that has had 20 years of experience in short-term rentals, and she has agreed to take over it in case there's an emergency or violence or anything like that. And her name happens to be Virginia, so.
Any questions for Ms. Tatum?
Tell me about the tall grass violations.
So I think it was in 2022, and I wasn't familiar with the proposed height that grass is supposed to be cut, and it just went too long. But since then, I've hired a landscaper and someone to come and maintain the grass in the summer months every 2 weeks. You're welcome.
And you've owned this home since 21, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What made you decide? You moved, I'm assuming?
I'm a travel nurse, so I've just been in and out of Norfolk for some time. Sometimes I take 3-month contracts and sometimes longer. So I just felt like it would be a wonderful experience to have people come and experience Norfolk at my beautiful home.
And you still live there?
Currently, yeah. Right now, no. I'm on an assignment in Massachusetts.
I guess what I'm asking is you intend to return to the house? Like when your contracts are done,
Yes,
this is
yes,
still
ma'am.
home?
Of course.
You're renting it, your desire is to rent it short-term while you're on assignment elsewhere?
Yes.
But it's still the home that you call home?
Correct.
Okay. Did you meet with Beacon Light Civic League?
I did twice. The first time, both times were via Zoom meeting. The second meeting, I was towards the end of the meeting, and I felt like everyone didn't really understand what I was trying to say, but I don't think they feel like it aligns with their vision for the community. They talked about parking, they talked about violence and parties, they talked about trash was a big issue, pets disposing of feces, that was a huge complaint. So I told them that my regulations is that the bookings have to be over a day so that it eliminates parties. There's no pets on my property at all. I do have 3 cameras on the outside of the property and noise decibel units so that it will alert me and Virginia when people are talking too loud or whatever the case.
One of the concerns is environmental impact.
Mm-hmm.
Did they mention to you what environmental impact they were concerned about?
Aside from the dog feces, no.
Oh, okay, maybe that's, yeah.
No.
It might refer to you putting in flood vents. The environmental impact could be a
Oh,
flood
yeah.
hazard. That's
Yeah, and it was recommended too that my HVAC be elevated to a certain height, and we talked about that, and that's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Not a problem because you're going to do it.
Of course.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. Tatum? No? Okay, that's all of my questions, I think so. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Did we want to have a discussion before we go to the vote? No one else is here. Yes, go ahead.
So since this is still her primary residence, it sounded like, does this make it a homestay, even though she's?
Go ahead.
Shut the-
She's going to rent it short-term.
On the application, she did list a Massachusetts residence. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I did. So I did get a Massachusetts residence on the application. That's why I did think that was another residence she owns. It wasn't her primary.
Mhm.
So.
Oh, Ms. Tatum, you can come back up.
I thought your question
Mhm.
led to that, so that's why I think I misunderstood
So
something.
I'm not going back anytime soon to live there. My
Okay.
stuff is out. It's completely renovated for a short-term rental, but I know that I obviously can't go back if I wanted to.
Because I'm walking away with a different, so it's been renovated and you couldn't come back now if you wanted to?
No, I could. It's
Okay.
not running as anything. It's vacant right now.
Okay. But this is not, right now, you're a travel nurse and you're on assignment in Massachusetts.
Correct.
But Massachusetts is not your primary residence.
It is. I have a Massachusetts license.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you are not returning to this home?
Anytime soon, no.
I got you. Okay, thank you. That, I appreciate the clarity.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so you were right, that's the residence. Any other questions? All right, I think we're ready.
Sorry, we're
No, don't worry.
trying to
We're
get
still
additional
working on stuff.
information
Yeah,
taken
I
care of.
know.
We're ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready to
Okay,
vote.
the motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
No, we'll make that recommendation to City Council. Thank you for coming out.
Number 10, Sam Almaki for conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental unit, vacation rental, at 6227 Edward Street. The purpose of this request is to allow the operation of a single-family home as a short-term rental unit.
Thank you. So this is for an applicant at 6227 Edward Street, requesting a conditional use permit to operate a vacation rental in a two-bedroom, single-family home on the west side of Edward Street, between Strand Street and Geneva Way in the Shadywood East neighborhood. A short-term rental does not conflict with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates the property as single-family traditional. Property is zoned SF10. In SF10, all vacation rentals need a CUP to operate. Here we see the site for the proposed short-term rental. This home was built in 1945. It's been owned by the current owner since May of 2024. The applicant will be adding foundation, screening, shrubs, and a front yard tree. The applicant does operate a property management company and will be managing the property with his own company. He does have other short-term rentals that he manages that way as well. I'll also note this applicant was denied by council back in February. They did not indicate a reason for the denial, but as part of this application, he has gained signatures from some of his close neighbors indicating their support of the application. For the neighborhood analysis, within 500 feet, approximately 52% of residential parcels and 8% of residential units are single-family. All-inclusive, if this application were approved, approximately 1.6% of residential parcels and 0.25% of residential units within 500 feet would be short-term rentals. As before, the other Edward Street application was not included in those numbers. And then staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Russell? No? All right, thank you. We do have the applicant here, Mr. Alamaki. Will you come join us? Start with your name and your address, please.
Good afternoon. Sam Almaki, 956 Timberlake Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23464.
Thank you for coming out today. I know that if you want to start with sharing information about the property before we launch into questions.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
fine.
So I bought this property about 2 years ago. So we manage about 15 to 20 Airbnbs in East Beach area. I manage about 100 to 150 long term. Another reason of using that property as a short-term rental is having it as a backup for all our rentals, because we have a lot of rentals in the area, in Norview area, and just in case if there's something happening, we have a place close by that we can place our tenants to, and we can use it as a short-term rental as well. And also this property is closer to the airport. For some of the people who's visiting, they like to be closer to the airport.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any questions for Mr. Alamaki?
Comment. Mr. Almaki, you come in front of us before in the ARB as well, and I just wanted to compliment you on the improvements that you've done to every property you've owned.
Thank you.
You didn't
Appreciate
just
it.
take them, you've actually improved upon them.
Thank you so much.
benefit.
Actually, this property is before I bought it, they supposed to tear it down and build it, but it was in a really good condition, so I modified it a little bit and made it look good.
A comment. I did have a question about the petition of support. Could you tell me about that process?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get the signatures and?
Yes,
other things?
so pretty much I walked the neighborhood and pretty much I explained to them what I'm doing and like how we run our business. We've been doing Airbnb for a long time now, over probably 4 years with no issues really. My office for this property is only 15 minutes. We have a full-time staff, maintenance, stuff like that, and we have no issues. So we run it as a business, so we don't allow any parties, and we know how to take care of if we have any issues with the properties. And no one that I stopped by had any issues with us running Airbnb over there.
I was looking at the petition, and I think the third signature down, it looks like maybe it was signed by proxy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that person physically cannot sign, so he told me to sign for him.
I see, okay. But they were in support?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And then I think the fourth one down, they didn't indicate yes or no. So
Correct.
they were just kind of neutral?
Yeah, they don't really have
Mhm.
any opinion about it.
Okay. And maybe tell me a little bit about your interaction with the other three folks
Yeah.
that you,
Yeah, it was great. I mean, don't have any concern about it. We actually been doing 30 days or more since I bought it because we went through the process the first time,
Mhm.
and we had no issues, no complaint. It's been great property so far.
any other questions for Mr. Almaki? No, awesome, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any comments or discussion before we vote? All right, thank you, Susan.
The motion is to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells? Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you for coming out.
Okay. Finishing with the STRs, we'll move on to a street closure, 731 Monticello Avenue LLC, to vacate the existing right-of-way of an unnamed portion of a 20-foot lane lying on the southern side of Stark Street between Granby Street and Monticello Avenue, containing .007 acres of land.
Thank you, Susan. As she said, this is to the rear of 731 Monticello Avenue. This is a vacation proposal, right-of-way vacation proposal. It's part of a larger purchase agreement for a proposed multifamily redevelopment on the 700 block of Monticello. Civic League is in support of it, and staff recommends approval. I stand by for any questions.
Any questions for Joy? No, thank you very much. We do have the applicant here that is available for questions, Mr. Weintraub. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Weintraub? No, thank you very much for coming out. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, thank you, Susan.
Okay. The motion is to recommend approval to vacate the existing right-of-way, subject to any necessary easements. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
Aye, we'll make that recommendation to council. Thank you for coming out.
Okay, on to new business.
Well, if I can ask, before we go to new business, do we have any new information?
Yes, Ms. Sutter, we probably should readdress item number 4 from the regular agenda. Staff has looked into it. We do have the ability to extend the temporary permit to address this issue for the moment.
Extend it beyond the July
Yes,
public hearing?
yes.
But not for the banquet.
Right,
Yeah,
just to
right.
clarify,
So
it
just to
would not be for
clarify,
banquets.
just to clarify, this is for the temporary use for the outdoor sales events that she's having. That is permissible to be extended. In no way, shape, or form has it been approved to be provided for events, regardless what was represented, so.
And will you come back to us with further information regarding this? As far as the update on parking and the permission?
Yeah, we'll meet with her
Okay.
again and go over all the things that
Or
we're gonna
concerns.
need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
because I did have a question about, would this CUP expire if it were approved?
If that's the will of the
That's
commission.
what he's talking about.
Okay.
If that's the will of the commission, we can provide a condition.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question. Would CUP
Oh.
expire?
My question was, I think there is a desire to continue this item.
Right.
Right. But my question was, I guess as we're gathering more information to hear it again, I wondered if the CUP were approved, would it expire?
You mean the CUP that they're applying for that would be granted by the city council?
Yes.
It would only expire if they add an expiration date to it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't believe that's been recommended by staff to have an expiration on it.
Would the commission like us to explore a condition for your consideration?
I think that the reason I bring it up is, and I might have brought it up immaturely, so please forgive me, but I think I wanted to know what could be all of our options. And so that was one of them. I wanted to be certain, what should we anticipate considering next month?
Well, we're here. You may want to bring the applicant up and find out how long her lease is.
Okay.
To see if that's viable and if that conflicts with any contract expectations
Okay.
she and the landlord have.
Thank you. Ms. Kelsey, thank you so much for waiting.
The question is, how long is my lease?
Yes.
Okay, I have 2 years or a year and a half left on it with a 5-year option.
Got it.
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
5-year option is your option exclusively. You can opt to do it or.
Correct.
Or let it lapse. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And do you know how soon you need to agree to that option?
I do not. The landlord just left, so I can't answer that.
That's okay. It was a curiosity more than anything. And I believe we have a desire to continue this item until next month. Do you have any questions about the extension?
I do.
Okay.
A few questions. Are we able to go back to the picture? I have a question about that side that there was a miscommunication about maybe on my end, but where it said vendor. I'm sorry.
And we can work that out with you and make any clarifications
No, I
that
just
we
have a
need to.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, just so that when I'm going, yeah. And then when you say next month, because you all are going on break, correct?
No,
So
we don't take breaks.
Okay.
No such luck.
Okay. So when it said vendor area, you all thought that that's where the vendors would be, or that's where the vendors would park?
Yes.
With the vendors
No,
would
no,
set
which
up
one?
at-
Parking, or that's where the vendors would
But they
set
would
up?
pop up and.
Where the vendors are.
and
So
they're-
with vendors setting up there, you're saying I exceeded the amount of parking if the vendors set up on the right? Is that what I'm understanding?
What I understand, well, because this was brought up in our meeting earlier, and I asked, did that particular area is where all the vendors were setting up? And we was given under the impression that, like, yes, that's where the vendors are, and they're not in that front parking area. That was the interpretation that we got out of that discussion.
So if they are there, then I exceeded the amount of parking that's needed. So if I changed what I needed to do and said the vendors are gonna be there and not in the front and not in the back, then we've exceeded the parking that's needed. Am I correct?
Again, I believe that would help your application from what we've heard, but yes, you would have available to you all the parking that would be there. I think we just need to clarify where you would plan on putting that. Staff has heard from the commission the comments. We'll share with you
Okay.
that information. Again, our goal is to set you up for the best information to share with the
Right.
commission, and so we'll do that, and we'll set that up.
Okay, so I'll hear back
Sure.
from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Can I bring up, I was just trying to think of solutions to try to walk away with something more with just an extension of your current situation. Like, is the outdoor vending, like, is that a need to for you?
On Saturdays, yes, because
Okay.
there's no way for people to know. And I'm gonna talk to the vendors that were here and see what they think as well, so maybe when I come back, I have a different answer, but,
I was wondering if that was removed and you just had the indoor, then we wouldn't have any issues outdoor at all, everything would be inside.
The
So-
vendors rely on visibility. That's how farmers markets work.
Yeah.
So that what they really, yeah.
I mean, I understand that, I was just trying to give her more than what she's walking away with now.
I understand.
And so if that's not on the table.
I'm
then-
thinking on this, depending on when I guess Susan's gonna call me, I'm thinking on the side, because we have that side and that side, with that grassy area that you all don't have marked, where vendors could go, because that's all grass. So I'm thinking if we at least had them outside on the side and we still left the parking lot open, then that would work. But again, I will wait for more instruction.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's patience. I believe that not yet, but is someone interested in making a motion to continue this item?
The continuance date would be July 24th, correct? Okay.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
So the motion is to continue the item until July 24th. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells? Mr. Young? Dr. Whibley? Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Leonard?
Aye. Thank you very much.
All right, now on to new business. Item number 1, St. Vincent de Paul House LLC for development certificate at 100, 110, 150, 160 Kingsley Lane, 6303 and 6401 Granby Street, and the east side of Newport Avenue, GPIN 14391411606.
Thank you, Susan, for reading all those addresses. The site is bounded by Kingsley Lane, Granby Street, Newport Avenue, and Painter Street. It's the former DePaul Hospital. The proposed development is consistent with Plan Norfolk 2030, which designates the site as institutional. The property is on conditional INC. Remember, a short time ago, they came through to rezone the property into INC to allow for this development. In this district, any new development needs a development certificate. I'm going to turn things over to our architect, to our design review team, and they're going to go over some of the other aspects with you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So the item before you was recommended by the Architectural Review Board as it meets most of the design guidelines, and it was very responsive to a lot of the historic precedent on this site. So starting here, this is the site plan showing the overall campus layout, and I will just note here that, as you can see at the bottom part of the site, there are 4 learning houses that are shown. That is the ultimate intent of this project. The first phase of construction will only complete the first 2, the 2 that are closest to the corner. So just for full transparency there. There is going to be landscaping and an open style fence along the service side of the gym, auditorium, cafeteria that faces Blessed Sacrament Church. So there will be some transparency there, but there will ultimately be an improvement. Right now it faces the service area for the former DePaul Hospital. Existing site and neighborhood context, there's multifamily directly across the street and single family residential in the immediate area. This is the historic DePaul campus as it have evolved over time. As you can see, there's a lot of brick, cream, and white trim, a heavy emphasis on symmetry, and the applicant took those deeply into consideration with their proposal for the main learning house, the art house, all of those other items. On the far left, you can see where that says revised rendering. This item came to the board, the Architectural Review Board, on June 9th and received an initial recommendation of approval with a few conditions asking them to reevaluate some of the design aspects of that building. As you can see here, they have responded to those changes. And so on the 23rd, this past Monday, the board did recommend approval of those revisions. It included mostly just some finer details on that building to bring the massing down so that it didn't distract from that main house in the center. So a few more renderings here. This is the overall campus layout, as you can see from the side. It's gonna have a really nice interior, essentially quad green space, and a reconstruction of the existing chapel that is on the current hospital. We'll use retained stained glass from that building and some of the interior furnishings. Building materials are pretty straightforward: red and white brick, fiber cement paneling throughout. And as I stated before, the ARB did recommend approval to you. There are 2 conditions that are still here, one being that the revisions as provided to you today be adhered to, and that the signage that's planned for the site come back to the board for review. Right now, only placement has been identified. Do you have any questions for me about the design review aspect of this project? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so a development certificate shall be approved if the planning commission finds that the proposed development is consistent with the purposes of the zoning district, consistent with the character of the surrounding development, and consistent with the conditions listed on the screen here. The development proposed is compatible with surrounding land uses. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. The uses proposed at the site are permitted in the base and underlying zoning districts. Any waivers are minimal. The waivers do not exceed the limits established for the applicable zoning district, and the proposed development complies with all applicable proffers and conditions on the land. The proposed development is compatible with all those review standards, and the development does not require any waivers. Staff is recommending approval.
Okay, the motion is to approve the development certificate. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
Aye.
Item number 2, Alan Whitmore for a subdivision variance at 5415 Studley Avenue.
Afternoon again, Commissioners. This is a unusual request, something we don't bring to you very often, but it is a subdivision variance. Just so you know, your decision is the final decision on this one. In terms of the zoning approval, ultimately this is a subdivision. If Public Works has a concern with it or some other city agency, that could be something that could hold it up. But at least from the zoning standpoint, the Planning Commission has the final decision here. So this is a property located on Studley Avenue. It is a landlocked parcel. You see it fronts on the Elizabeth River. It accesses Studley Avenue, the actual street itself, via a shared access easement. The proposal here is to correct this with a subdivision variance, which I'll go through a little bit more. So the background here, this is a lot that was created in 1940, or the original lot was created in 1948. Sometime between 1948 and 1953, the lot was split into two, and two different houses were built. The prior to 1948, this was allowed to be done legally by deed. We don't know when that split took place, but prior to 48, it was allowed. The lot was created in 48. So, regardless, we have a situation where we have a lot on a landlocked parcel. Houses existed there since 1953. That house was torn down at one point and replaced with a new one, but there is a house there so it's been occupied for 70 plus years. So the process for correcting this situation is a subdivision variance to essentially recognize that we have a lot that has no frontage and allow them to, essentially I believe they're in right now for refinancing and trying to correct the situation with the title work. So the lot is plenty large, meets all the requirements for the SF6 zoning district. It just doesn't have any frontage. So access is provided via an ingress-egress easement. This is, unfortunately not a very great image at this scale, but you see the lot here, and then to the south there's what looks like a flagpole to a flag. There's a stem of access easement that runs down to Studley Avenue. And that is all recorded and it's all reflected in the subdivision plat itself. So staff does recommend approval here because it's an existing condition. I did receive a question from I believe the Civic League president a few weeks back. Haven't heard any comment from anybody else for or against. It was just confusion as to what it was. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions? No?
I have a really silly question. We're going to vote for this, but what if we voted against it? What happens?
They would not be able to, we would not be able to approve the subdivision variance, so they wouldn't be able to get the plat approved, and they'd have to live with an illegal, essentially an illegal subdivision.
So you can't.
What is it? What happens?
You wouldn't be allowed to permit any building on it. It would
But
be
there's
out.
already a building on it.
And that one could maybe stay, but it's an illegal building, and so if an insurance company asks if this gets torn down, can it be rebuilt? The city would have to say, no, it can't. It's an illegal building.
This is not the only one, you know that.
There are many of these, yes.
There are a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them.
I just
some of
was
them-
curious. I'm sorry to slow things
Yeah.
down.
No, it's fine.
And essentially, I think the immediate issue would be, I think they're going through for a refinancing, and I think they would not be able to do that.
Nothing improved.
Jeremy, I got a question. So the lot split with the house in front of it, 5413,
Mhm.
but it says in there that the access to the property of 5415 actually goes through adjacent properties?
It does. If you could actually zoom in on this, it actually the access easement covers both of the front lots. There's 4 lots essentially grouped together. The access easement runs across the edge of the 2 in front to access the 2 in the back. It's a shared driveway. If you drove out there, you wouldn't recognize this as anything other than just a driveway. It doesn't, the lot lines, none of this really shows up very well on the ground. But all those agreements are in place from what I understand.
That's where I was gonna go, is there any impact to the other adjacent lots since they're party to this access?
I don't believe so. It appears as though all of this is already handled through an easement agreement, and the only thing that's outstanding is this lot, and not having the approval.
Those agreements are part of,
Yes, and they're reflected in the subdivision packet.
Yes, according to the preliminary subdivision plat that's in the packet, there's an instrument that's been recorded, which is a more recent instrument at the clerk's office, and an easement recorded in the deed book, which is a little bit older of a document allowing the easement for access to the property.
So my understanding is everything is buttoned up except for the lack of frontage on this lot.
For nuance, Mr. Bateman, easements to properties can be recorded via deed. Subdivisions or changes to properties after, depending on what date it came into the actual city proper, are required to be done by plat, by depiction on plat, after depending on where you're located in the city and when it was annexed in the city. So, but this is why the easements can be done and not have to be shown on anything, but the plat, in order to recognize it, has to be shown.
Another question. I'm assuming that the next door property doesn't have the same situation?
It has not been a part of this application, so I don't know. It's quite possible that they have the same situation. I believe that's already been addressed because of the titling of the lot, but I don't recall specifically. It's possible we'll see another one.
There have been some subdivision variances granted on this stretch. I just don't remember the addresses.
There have been, yes.
which one is considered the illegal?
It appears that this one, that the lot in the front still carries the original subdivision plat name and so it appears that that one still carries the lot name, and this one is part of, and that's usually the dead giveaway for us uneducated planners when we're looking through this and we get the question, is if it says something like part of lot X, that's a dead giveaway that it's not a legal subdivision, at least we're gonna go look at it, and this one has that, the one in front does not.
Having done land survey work, that's how we would lazily describe a property, yes.
I think we all learned a lot. Plats. Thank you. Any questions for Jeremy? I think we're done with those. And Thomas Reed is here, I believe, to answer any questions. Did you want to add anything? Thomas Reed is representing Alan Whitmore. And I believe Alan Whitmore is the property owner?
He's the land surveyor.
He's the land surveyor. I see, okay. Any questions for Mr. Reed?
Curious if you have anything to educate us on this. What are you here to represent?
Mr. Reed is also a land surveyor.
Oh,
And probably knows the answers to all the questions you've asked, but he's being modest.
Would you like Mr. Reed to come up? Okay.
Doesn't look like he wants to.
Okay. I think we're ready to vote, Susan.
Okay. The motion is to approve the subdivision variance. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Mann?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young? Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
Aye.
And Ms. Sutter?
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
And the last one, you want to do that?
Sure, I'll do it. Commission, as I noted during our informal session, we received a request for initiation of a text amendment from the Ghent Business Association that impacts the PCOs, the pedestrian commercial overlays of 21st Street and Colley Avenue. Their request is to amend the zoning ordinance to allow restaurants to sell alcohol, no entertainment, closing by 11 p.m. to be permitted by right in those two districts. This act of initiation just allows us to move forward with the work to do the research and do necessary public outreach on behalf of the commission, and that's all it does. And we will bring it back to you once we've done all that outreach.
Thank you. Any questions about that process? No? All right, yes.
Does this, I guess this would open it up for other areas of the city for consideration if this is something that we ultimately consider.
The request is narrow to only PCO 21st Street and Colley Avenue unless the commission would like us to do further exploration, but we do have a specific application only for this.
Understood. But text amendment would be for any future business.
In this district.
In this district.
Yeah, we don't have a specific application.
Right.
In the, we have an application to do this to the district.
Understood. So this could create other interest in other, to do the same thing in other areas
Yes,
of the city.
yes, if they choose to.
Susan?
Okay. The motion is to initiate the text amendment. Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Mr. Bateman?
I
And
I would, say yes, I agree. I also want to look, though, that when we're doing this effort, let's not just narrow focus it to that district, but potentially what, if this were allowed citywide, what would the impact be? I see the benefit. I don't want us to get down the road and then have to redo it, looking at it differently. That would be my, the vote, got
Ms. Sutter?
Aye.
Was I clear on that, Mr.?
Yes. We will provide data and information for the commission's consideration.
Okay.
We will focus on this first, but we will also provide information on that.
Very good, thank you.
Well, thank you all for your patience. I know that we've got a lot of new things that we were considering today, and I appreciate the teamwork and the persistence. So thank you all, and of course, everyone that came out this afternoon, thank you very much. And we are adjourned. Thank you.